Put a little bit of lube in the tip, water-soluble lubricant. Squeeze the tip to get out any air bubbles. Roll it over the head, down the shaft, to the base.
I've had sex once, and that's with the baby's father.
I hate being in a room with pregnant women, or somebody that's pregnant. I mean, I don't hate them. I just hate the fact that they can have children and I can't. You know?
Do you practice safe sex now?
Oh, of course.
We're having sex. We're enjoying having sex. Clean sex.
No kids, no STDs.
We've all got real problems, but can't always solve them. We need someone to listen, cause we all need some talking.
Some try to ignore, but we've got to explore. We cannot hide it all away, let's do this together.
Well, I'll talk to you,
and you'll talk to me. We've got to reach out to set us free. Degrassi Talks, coast to coast, we hear real stories from real people. Degrassi Talks,
Degrassi listens.
you're not alone, let's do this together. Degrassi Talks.
Teen sex, a hot topic. 50% of Canadian teens are sexually active by grade 11. That's every other kid in your grade 11 class. I'm Amanda Steptoe. For the past 5 years, I've played the character Spike on Degrassi. Spike had unprotected sex and became a mother at 14. At the time, I thought, this is unrealistic. I mean, with all the information we have on STDs and birth control, could this really happen? Now that school's out, some of us from Degrassi have traveled across the country. We want to find out what you think about, talk about, and practice regarding sex.
Excuse me, would you mind answering a few questions for a documentary series that we're doing?
No, that sounds cool.
Sure.
Great, thanks. Ready?
Yep, rolling.
Okay, when is someone ready to have sex?
Anywhere, anytime, when you're ready. Just do it.
I believe it's never okay for teens to have sex.
I was brought up to have sex after you're married.
Well, I just think that people, if they do have sex, they should be prepared. And they should be prepared to face the consequences.
Vicky, 2 years ago, something happened in your life. Would you like to talk with us about it? I was at a girlfriend's house one night, and I was going out with Dwayne for about 6 or 5 months. And it was more or less, come on, Vicky, let's go upstairs, it won't hurt. Everybody does it. It was like he was saying, come on, now, like, if you don't come, I'm gonna slap you or something. So it was more or less like pressuring me into it. So I went upstairs and things happened, and I was stuck with a baby for the rest of my life now. I didn't really think of birth control, or my mom didn't really. She tried to explain to me, you know, you're supposed to use a condom or birth control pills or something to prevent birth. And it was hard for her because I was only 13 years old, and she didn't really think that I was old enough to be able to have sex yet.
Have you heard of any myths about avoiding pregnancy? Any? What?
Stand up after sex.
Yeah, you could never get pregnant in a swimming pool.
If you jump up and down after, or you have a shower,
a cold
or something,
shower
yeah.
to freeze the sperm or something.
If you bath in Coke, like Coca-Cola Classic, you know, you won't be pregnant.
Really?
First time you have sex, you can't get pregnant. That's pretty interesting.
I've had sex once, and that's with the baby's father.
What are we gonna tell Mom and Dad if you're pregnant?
I'd never tell them.
I think they'd figure it out. Not if I had an abortion. How can you say that? I can't have a kid. I'm too young to be a mom.
What do you think about abortion?
Well, I'd much rather have an abortion than have, like, a child that's all messed up or unwanted, you know?
I think it's wrong because I know it's not alive yet, but it's still a human being that's growing inside your body.
The way I see it, most people think it's the woman's choice. The way, from what I've talked about it with friends and stuff, most people see it as a woman's choice.
Okay, so here we go. In Toronto, we visited Alyssa. She decided to have an abortion after she found herself with an unplanned pregnancy. Her decision was not easy.
How did you find yourself pregnant?
Well, I mean, we used a condom, and I didn't use foam with the condom, mainly because of, like, it wasn't convenient for me at that time. Like, you know, I didn't go and get the foam. Like, you can always protect yourself, like, you know, to the maximum, you know what I mean? And, like, I chose not to, and you know, and I seriously regretted my choice, like, afterwards, sort of thing, so.
What did you decide to do?
Well, I never went, like, straight into, you know, the idea of, like, you know, having an abortion or whatever. Like, there was always, like, a choice to be made, right? And I chose abortion, so. I wish that I could have had the child, you know, and I don't like to have to explain myself to people, like, about, you know, the choice that I did make. It's just that, like, in reality, it's just not that simple, and it's not that easy, and there's a lot of, like, unwanted children, and there's a lot of children living really crummy lives, and, like, I can't, you know, I don't want to contribute to that experience, you know.
An abortion is not an easy decision, but sometimes it's the only answer.
Abortion's okay, I guess. She's the one who has to carry the baby around for 9 months, but I would like some say on what happens to it.
Why, like, I don't understand how people can just, like, murder somebody like that. Like, it's only, like, 9 months of your life. You could give it up for an adoption, too, but why murder them?
On Degrassi, I play the character Spike, who got pregnant. And she was only 14 at the time.
Yes.
How old were you when you got pregnant?
I was a month away from being 18, so I was 17 at the time when I got pregnant.
You weren't on any birth control or anything? There was
No.
So what did your mom say when she found out that you were pregnant? Was she very supportive?
She was supportive. I wanted to get an abortion. That was my plan. And when I did tell her, confide in her, she told me that there are other routes to take with the situation. So she mentioned adoption. I didn't really question if I wanted to keep the baby because I knew I wanted to give it up for adoption. I knew it all the time. The only time I would sort of wonder would be like, what if? You know, what would it be like if I kept the baby? And when I would think about that, it would come around again that adoption was the best thing to do. I just think that a lot of young mothers, they don't think about the whole
situation,
picture.
yeah.
I mean, they think, oh, a cute little baby, and I can handle it, and oh, I know it'll be rough at first, and oh, you know, I'll be able to, I don't know, you know, just be able to handle it. But who wants to just handle it, you know, for 20 years?
Vicky changes over half a dozen diapers a day. She feeds Jeffrey every 3 hours. She doesn't date and seldom has time for her friends.
Gonna get all ready for daycare tomorrow? A lot of the time I get where I feel like just taking Jeffrey and giving him to somebody else, like pushing him off. Like, I feel like I'm cornered by this 2.5-year-old that's saying, Mom, Mom, and it frustrates you after a while. Just think, change the name. I'm not your mom anymore, sort of thing.
How do you feel about Jeffrey's dad?
I don't like him at all. He doesn't put anything forward to Jeffrey. He thinks that being a daddy is buying a big toy, buying him Christmas presents and stuff. He never comes. He was supposed to come on Easter Sunday, and he never showed up. So he's not obligated, and he's not responsible, so I just don't like him.
I think the guy leaves his girlfriend when he's pregnant mainly out of fear that he can't handle it. It's too much pressure. I think most guys are overwhelmed at what's happened and they freak right out.
So if you're 16 or 17, you don't really want to get married.
I figured because they don't have no control over their organs, they figured they don't have to have control over taking care of what that did.
But I think a lot more guys would stick around than are given credit for.
Because they just don't want to take the responsibilities, and they say, hey, I'm young still, I can go around with any girl I want, and it's not my responsibility.
I don't think she likes this playpen too much.
Yeah,
True to statistics, we had difficulty finding a teen father. Pat traveled to Red Deer to talk to Don.
Most guys I know who have been in that situation, they're